Check. Can I
when we're talking, can I sit back and then when I talk, just come up to it?
Or? You'll forget if you want to sound like you're coming from a tunnel.
Yeah. That's why, I think even just right here is probably going to be prime.
Okay.
I better taste it since I got to talk about it.
Tell me what you think.
Oh, goddamn, that's good.
I'm telling you.
Refreshing lager.
That's dangerous. Too bad Katie didn't drive me tonight.
That is my go-to right now.
Oh, that's good, huh?
That's really good.
It doesn't even taste like beer.
It doesn't. That is really that's like a commercial beer.
Yeah. That's what and it's not like a Bud Light or a Coors Light.
No, Sam Adams 76.
It almost has like a fruity taste to it.
Yeah. It's really smooth.
It says light citrus.
Yeah,
I tasted the fruit.
But it kind of doesn't it almost remind you a little bit of an IPA?
Just a very slight. Let's not talk about it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You guys ready?
I'm just glad you like it.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host Travis and John. How you doing today, John?
Fantastic.
We have our amazing friend.
Wow, amazing
friend here today. Hopefully he follows up good with that. But before we get into beverage of the day, go ahead, guys, and don't forget to go follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page at Elbows Tight Podcast on Facebook, at Elbows Tight Pod on Instagram. Give us some feedback on what you guys have been feeling lately. We've been trying to get this man on this episode for a while now. So
dodging us.
Dodging. We're like, hey,
gotta go hiking, gotta go camping.
I gotta go shoot some. I gotta go kill some elk. So, but today should be a fun one. But yeah, John, go ahead and tell me what you got.
All right, it looks like we got some Samuel Adams, Sam 76, a lager. It's pretty good. It doesn't taste like your average beer. When I took my first sip, I was like, wow, it's almost like an IPA. It's got a little citrus to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But none of those bitter hops.
Yeah, there's a slight bit of hoppiness to it, but it's like
sweet.
It's so smooth.
Yeah,
we were before I gave the countdown. We were literally just going into depth about how good this beer is, and I was like, we should probably stop talking about it. That's part of the podcast.
It's pretty good.
No, this is for a commercial beer. Like I was saying, it is really freaking good.
Because I usually drink a lot of off the wall beers. I try to find interesting beers, and this is just one of those ones I was just shocked when I had it. Somebody offered it to me. I was like, wow.
Like for Sam Adams, I see Sam Adams and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not gonna really try that, but maybe now I'll start trying more because microbrews are so big now, right? Mm-hmm. Even big name companies want to keep up with them. I mean, look at Bud Light Lime. It's like,
are you kidding me right now? Whoa. I can't even believe you said that.
Actually, as a matter of fact,
we just lost 5 of our 10 listeners. Thanks.
So, Nate, you said you tried a lot of off the wall beers. Like we talked about this before. What grabs you to make you want to try one of the beers?
I don't know. It's just it's got to be. I don't do the IPAs. I don't do the bitter IPAs. I don't know. I've had a few people change my mind and give me something that I liked, but I try to find something that just sounds smooth.
Does the can grab you? Does the artistry of the?
Yeah, and I'm guilty for that.
Everyone is.
I'll admit, I'm like, that's pretty sweet.
That looks delicious. That can looks delicious.
It does, but every now and then it's like the most generic looking can, and I'll just take a chance and buy it, and it's usually delicious. So
yeah, like you wouldn't expect this beer to be this good because it's literally just once again you'll see it on the Instagram later.
It just looks like a Bud Light.
Yeah, it looks like a normal beer. There's absolutely nothing special about the can except for it says Sam 76 refreshing lager, and I'm like, but Budweiser says they're refreshing, so it's like it's kind of hard to trust that from someone.
Oh yeah,
but Sam Adams also has the that huge multi-pack.
Yeah,
and
I've had that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they actually have some their Oktoberfest.
Their Oktoberfest
I actually
really
enjoy their Oktoberfest. Sam Adams, though they're probably the most legit big brewery. Well, and Dogfish. I don't know if you've ever had Dogfish.
I've had Dogfish.
Yeah, like their 60-minute IPA, 90-minute IPA. Fantastic.
Yeah,
they have a lot of good beers. So
maybe we should formally introduce Nate.
Oh yeah, Nate.
He's been talking for a minute there, but I'll go ahead and introduce him. This is Nate Delapp. He started jiu-jitsu with us when the gym first opened up. So, Nate, why don't you go ahead and give us a little brief intro about yourself, where you're from, and what got you into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Washington State. You know, right down the road from here, Seabeck is where I grew up. So
A native.
Yep, a native.
Don't say it too loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved away for a little while, but loved it here so much I moved back. I did karate growing up, you know, most of my childhood. I really enjoyed it, but kind of lost interest in it, you know, around 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And when I was in the Marines, I kind of started getting back into the martial arts side of things, and I really loved because it was mixed martial arts, you know, we're doing all kinds of stuff. And we just kind of touched on jiu-jitsu, and I was just hooked. So when I moved back home, you know, I just started looking around for gyms, and I just never really pulled the trigger and found somewhere to go.
Were you CrossFitting there at all before the jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. All right. So my wife started CrossFitting there, and that's kind of what us got us started with the gym. And what's going on?
No, I'm trying to get my phone. I just had
no worries. Yeah, she started going there first, and then I started going right after her, and I did CrossFit for a few years, and my job just had me so busy I couldn't really get in to the gym ever. So
yeah.
I kind of took a step back from that, and then about a year and a half ago I got a new job, and now I have tons of time. You know, I work right down the road from you guys now. So.
I remember when Nate first started this job, he came into the gym, and he's like, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, I literally stopped working at like noon today, and I get off at 2:30.
Oh, man.
And they didn't say anything about it. They're like, you need to slow down. You're working way too fast.
This work needs to last all year. You can't do it in a month.
Listen, bro, we're the government.
I didn't know what to do with myself, man. I was just like.
Now you're used to it. Now you go back to a real job. You're going to be like.
No, I still wake up. I'm like, wait, I'm not working today? I've been off for like 5 days. This is weird. But now I have the time to dedicate to something, you know. Like I wasn't able to go all in with CrossFit because I was only stressed about work.
Yeah.
And I was out of town. I mean, I was gone all the time.
Yeah, you were.
And, you know, and then Cody, he started that up over there, and I just took a chance, and I fell hard for it. Like,
yeah.
I'm so addicted.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, it was just the same for you guys when you started there.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the sales pitch. Didn't you just tell us, oh, hey, we're going to start jiu-jitsu
I don't think
on that side of the gym. Anybody want to try it?
I don't think there was a sales pitch.
That's what I mean. I just remember it as like a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it.
And now look at us. Now we're 14, 15 episodes deep into a jiu-jitsu podcast. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's crazy how things grab you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were at the old racquetball courts, Cody was talking about Cody was talking about how he has like a jiu-jitsu background, and I remember a bunch of us went upstairs in like the gymnastic soft mat area, and we started like rolling around. And I don't even think I rolled with Cody and Gabe, but I rolled with a couple of people, and I have a little bit of wrestling background. I was like, man, I miss that. Like I was like, Cody, why don't we do like jiu-jitsu on the weekends? He's like, I would, man, but you know that was back when the gym was really, really small, and it was brand new in the area. So he's like, I got to focus on CrossFit. I don't have any time for anything else besides growing the gym. And now look at us. Like,
well, that was smart on his part.
Yeah,
you know, kind of
timing was perfect.
Yeah.
It was absolutely perfect. It's crazy. Like once again, how things happen like that. So
yeah,
you did the Marine jiu-jitsu. You said, right? Like
it was like the Marine Corps martial arts program.
Yeah,
it was just.
They had a belt system too, right?
Yeah. I think I ended up getting to my green belt, and it was just a lot of mixed stuff. You know, there's judo, there's jiu-jitsu, there's almost like Krav Maga. There's all kinds of stuff kind of thrown.
It was meant to be obviously close combat,
right?
Like,
and there's like weapons training.
So is it for like if your gun failed and you're in battle and you're tied up with someone,
or you kick open a door?
Yeah, you get it tied up with someone in some hand to hand. So a lot of like lethal type stuff,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
So. And I just the jiu-jitsu side of it is what hooked me.
Yeah.
You know, I was in there after hours rolling with people, black belts and stuff like this. Just teach me.
Show me.
Show me the way.
Yeah. Our buddy Trey from Japan, he was stationed with a bunch of Marines in I forgot where what. Oh,
sorry. Blaze is trying to get on the podcast right
Blaze
now.
Blaze is freaking out. Hold on one second. We're gonna pause real quick.
We'll let him talk for a minute.
All right, and we're back. Sorry, my dog was freaking out. Wife came home.
Attack dog.
Yeah, right. Attack dog. You saw how big of an attack dog he was when Nate came in.
Yeah.
While he was eating a burger.
Yeah, well, I think it was a cookie. He's like, this dog is so nice. And John is like, yeah, it's because you got food in your hand.
And then as soon as I finished it, he was out of there.
He's like, oh, dang it, I didn't get any of it. So
where were we at?
we were talking about the Marine martial arts.
Yeah.
You were saying you got your green belt. You were addicted. You were hanging out with all the black belts, trying to get as much as you can.
Yeah, we had mat rooms pretty much everywhere we went. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, we would. I guess you could call it rolling. We didn't know what we were doing as far as ground fighting, so it was just kind of a strength game. But we wanted to learn. We just didn't have the right people to teach us. There wasn't. We didn't have enough black belts to really teach us further. So when I got out, I was trying to find a jiu-jitsu gym somewhere to train at. And the funny thing was I was literally looking for one, and I had no idea that they were opening one there. And Melissa brought it up, and I was just like, "You gotta be kidding me! This is perfect."
What are the odds, right?
So I was like out driving around looking at gyms, and I just swung in there and talked to Phil. I was like, "Sign me up." He's like, "Really?" Yeah, sign me up.
Were you there for the first? You didn't do the seminars, right? You joined after they actually started the school, right?
Yeah, it was like it's from the first day they opened. I missed the seminars though, because I had found out about it too late. You guys had already done the seminar, and then it was like I was waiting for it to open for the first day. So yeah,
those seminars were amazing.
They were.
I'm kind of bummed I missed them.
Yeah, it was. I think the seminars, because Alan
what was his name? Yeah,
Alan, right? Knew, because we were all obviously brand new, so he went over literally the most basic things you could think of, man. And I think that kind of set us on the right path.
That's a cool way to start it out.
Yeah, exactly, because it was literally day one stuff was our day one
Even
stuff.
his examples were great because they were relatable.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, if you're at a bar and there's some huge drunk guy that's causing a scene, just put your hand in his collar right here.
Yeah.
And then if he gets too crazy, just slip it under your hand and go to the other side. And he showed us how to choke, and I was like, oh, I could see that happening.
Yeah, he was talking about how he was a bodyguard, or not a bodyguard, a bouncer.
Yeah.
And Alan's like your size, maybe a little bit taller.
Maybe.
But he's not a big guy. And he's like, yeah, I used to bounce and people would get buck wild, and so I would just use jiu-jitsu on them. He's like, I remember one time I was at the school, and some homeless guy came in, and he was tripping on something, and I was just calmly telling him, hey man, get out the school, you can't be in here. This is my business, blah, blah, blah. And the guy kept getting mouthy, and Alan was like, this dude's about to try to swing on me. And sure, he swings on Alan. Alan blocks it and just slaps him, because Alan says, I wasn't going to punch. It just slaps the crap out of his ear and disorients him and just throws him out the gym. So during the seminar, he didn't teach us how to punch.
Yeah.
He taught us how to slap people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Because he's like, you don't need to punch someone to mess them up. Just slap them in the ear. He's like, you know how bad people get disoriented? Yeah, right.
I've been punched in the ear, and it don't feel.
It doesn't feel good, right? So imagine just a cup just right on your eardrum with all that air pushing into it. He's like, it knocks people to the ground all the time,
and you don't have to worry about breaking your fingers.
Yep. Yeah, he's like, it's safer for you, it's safer for them. You know.
Yeah.
So that was what the seminars were, and then it was super basic triangle, super basic armbar, and then Cody rolled into the Gracie. Combatives.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty fast paced there for a while.
Yeah.
Hurry up and learn.
Yeah. But I felt never has it been trial by fire hose for us, right? But I felt like when Cody was doing it, there was it was one technique, maybe two techniques a class. And I don't know, it was just different. Cody's such a good coach, just to give him credit for
amazing.
You know what I mean? He's such a good coach. And once again, not discrediting anyone that has ever coached us. Absolutely. But there's just a difference when it is your job. Jon and I talk about it, right? When it is your job, that is your bread winner.
Butter.
That's exactly what you're good at.
Yeah.
And
there's still stuff, when he was teaching, there's still stuff I use on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That he taught. From day one.
Right.
And I know you guys know some of the chokes and stuff. I use them a lot.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Nate had the Ezekiel choke down, and he's
he's trying everyone. It was when I first got the darse. When I first got the darse, I was just feeding darses everywhere. It was I just can't get out of it. Then you guys went to that darse seminar, and I was like, I'm not ever getting this. I think I've gotten maybe one darse, and it's when people, it's super brand new people. I'm like, oh. Edit right there we go.
Yeah, no one lets me get any of my go-tos anymore. I have to be creative.
I was watching a video the other day on Instagram. I love Instagram, especially when I'm on the Elbows Tight podcast page at Elbows Tight Pod on Instagram. But like watching videos of just simple technique. And I watched this 30-second clip of this guy, this black belt in competition, and it was like 4 or 5 clips altogether of him literally getting a cross collar choke in competition 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And it was legit. He's just like, he has like knee on belly, opposite hand or hand across the collar, and then someone would like buck him or something like that, and as he's like falling, he throws his elbow across the head to finish the choke, or he'd like fall, grab the collar, and dude, it was like super smooth. And if people had their chin tucked, you know how George showed us, like you just shake them and then it's I was like, he's literally doing the most basic thing right now, and he's just getting people left and right.
A lot of the Gracies do a lot of really basic arm bars and stuff, and they're very successful. But they're proficient at it.
Well, there's a great one. I don't know if you've seen it, Nate. It's was it Henner and who's the guy from Atos?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 10-minute no point submission only match, and that was the first time Henner had been in a competition in like 10, 15 years.
Wow.
Andre Galvo.
Yeah, going up against.
Oh yeah.
And when you watch it, he used like the most basic jiu-jitsu the entire match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it ended. Like
Galvo was so mad.
He won off the points or whatever.
Yeah.
But he used like the most basic moves the entire time.
Yeah.
And do you guys go? You guys went to the seminar at the police academy, right?
Yeah.
The Gracie one? Yeah. I mean, that's something they really are serious about.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, we talk about that every once in a while. I would love to, like we talk about, like I would love to go to one now, having a pretty good understanding of some stuff. So being able to learn something new and understand the concept a little bit better.
Yeah, better idea
would be cool. Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you search anywhere for techniques, or what you said you're addicted now? What feeds your addiction?
So, we're all pretty competitive guys. We're always looking for new moves to bring into the gym and everything. And for a while there, I was on YouTube and whatever I could find just to find new moves and try them. And I was really addicted to that. And then I kind of just completely stopped doing it. Like the last 4 months, I don't watch any YouTube videos. And I've been finding more success just waiting for opportunities to open up for me now. Before, when it was just like I'd find these YouTube videos and I would try to force it in the gym because let's just say an arm bar, for instance,
Yeah.
I'm going to get you in I'm going to try to get an arm bar. So that whole time in my mind, I'm thinking arm bar.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, ankles, everything's passing me by and I'm missing these other opportunities. So I just kind of gave up on the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And just started just rolling and seeing what happens, putting myself in bad spots and seeing what I could do. And it's been working for me.
Yeah.
I've come up with some interesting moves, and there's times where it's like, how did I just do that?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, interestingly, Nate has his blue belt, by the way. And they say when you get your blue belt, that's the time for you to experiment. All that time and like find your game. So I think that's great that you're doing that now, because that's where you need to like establish kind of your game, what's your strong suit, how you're gonna attack it.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah, that's kind of that's just what I've been doing lately, and it's been working for me. It's just I've come up with some pretty creative things, but I've been hitting a lot of moves that I didn't hit before, arm bars and darces and stuff, because before I was clouded by all this information that I was trying to retain.
Stole my damn wrist locks.
I got them from you. Though.
That's dirty now. I gotta watch it. Now he's catching me in them. I'm like, what?
You gotta keep you on your toes.
That was like my go-to forever to like even it out.
Yeah,
I know.
You showed me one time. I was like, oh. That opens up a whole nother window.
My favorite thing about wrist locks isn't even finishing wrist locks; it's threatening wrist locks that watch people's lives pass before their eyes.
They do too.
They're a deer in headlights. They're like, "What was that?" But they have to move. Like a quick way to get Cody off you is to try to wrist lock him real quick from the bottom, and he's quick to move and get out of that. And he's like, he always comments.
Well, that's what John
did.
Like I never really been threatened by one, and I had him in my guard, and I was comfortable, and he isolated my elbow, and all of a sudden I'm in a wrist lock. I'm like, oh. Actually, and at first when he grabbed it, I was like, what was he going to do with that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's tight.
Did you finish it? Did you end up finishing
I
it?
don't even remember.
Bro, I think he did.
Oh,
but
man,
I
that's
just
too
needed
funny.
it to like.
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
It's like a good equalizer. Like
Yeah.
it slows people down and
Absolutely.
makes them like a little less aggressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And even kind of like every now and then someone will threaten it, and it almost throws you off for what you were trying to do. You're like, oh,
Well, that's the whole point,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
it's taking
it's like
their mind
if
off of
I've
what they're doing.
seen a video of a guy finishing a wrist lock in a black belt in competition, and the dude that got that tapped to it, dude, he was so frustrated because no one saw it. It was like inside, and he just got it real quick, and he got up. And he's like shaking his head, like, I can't believe I just got a wrist locked. Right? And they're like, what happened? He's like, and he's like, does like the wrist motion. Like,
No way.
Dude, he was so mad. I was like, I know the feeling, bro. Because the one time John tapped me in Japan, I've tapped to John before, but like the first time that he tapped me in Japan, it's the same thing. As like I was in like kind of like half guard. He isolated my arm between his legs, and he was just like holding it there. And I was like, what is this idiot doing? Like, and then I'm like, I guess I'm the idiot. Like, I'm like tapping on John. He's like staring at me. I was like, I'm tapping John. I'm
That was the
literally
first time I
tapping.
got him to tap in like a year.
Yeah.
That's
And we have that on
awesome.
video. That's on our that's on the YouTube page. I gotta
That's
fix our
awesome.
YouTube page.
I'm kind of worried about the competition because that's such a ingrained part of my game now.
Yeah.
Throwing in those wrist locks.
Yeah.
But I can't use them in the
Yeah.
competition. So I'm
Mhm.
like, man, that's gonna be hard if I just because it's almost instinct now.
Almost
where
be a good idea
I
to just kind of
do
quit
it.
training
Yeah.
now. Just to try to.
Yeah,
That'd be hard though, because that's a pretty.
I know, and I'm so used to just using them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
use them a lot.
Not even finishing them, just to use them to make them slow down.
Yeah, it works on me. That's for sure.
So,
I saw
we'll see.
you've been training a lot of takedowns for the
Mhm.
competition,
Yeah, I
right?
have
How's that
to.
going?
I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Professor really helped me out with that mantis claws, he calls it, behind the head.
Oh yeah.
I've been using that one a lot because when I went and watched the competition last time, most people were stuck in stand-up.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a 5-minute match. 3.5 minutes of it, almost 4 sometimes, was people just locked up, like holding each other, like trying to do something, and they couldn't. And I don't want to be in that position.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't
That's
blame
good.
you.
I'll have to work on it this weekend. If
Yeah.
you're gonna be there Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there tomorrow too, and I kind of want to.
Beautiful.
I don't even want to really roll. I kind of want to just do takedowns and go back and forth, like kind of like a judo thing.
Yeah.
When we did judo in Japan, it was obviously it was just boom, get a takedown, reset, boom, get a takedown, reset, right? And it's very fast paced, very
That's a
very
good
fast.
combo.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh yeah. And it was a whole lot of fun, but when I do jujitsu, I'm always worried about countering a takedown, right? So I don't really shoot for many takedowns, and it's also a confidence thing. Like I'm not super confident about my takedowns. Unless I grab your leg, then I'm not letting that thing go.
Yeah.
We went round and round for like a few minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, we're going to do this all day, so I'm just going to try for something here.
Yeah.
Stand-up's interesting. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Especially if both people are trying to be super cautious and they don't want to shoot in.
Right. And I think at some point you got to throw caution to the wind and just
Just
'cause go for it.
Yeah, that's everybody's thing is you're super vulnerable there. If you're shooting in, there's just so many counters.
Yeah, but if you get it,
Exactly.
you get it,
Exactly.
right? So
especially in like a points tournament where it's like time,
Oh my
you
God.
got to get in there,
Oof.
get some points.
Yeah, no,
that's where I'm going to struggle at this tournament because
Oh, so you're doing it now?
I'm doing it.
That's what I like to hear.
yeah,
I
baby.
thought I was going to be gone, but I'm going to be here, so I already signed up. So
Yeah, I did
What
too.
weight did you pick?
I don't remember.
I'm about to move mine up because I'm worried I'm not going to
heavy.
beat 181.
You're not heavy. You're like maybe 215.
I'm 215.
Woo! Called it.
He called it.
Called it.
So is Travis. That's funny.
But my thing
No,
is,
I'm not.
like,
I'm not
I think my
215.
you're not too.
No, I'm 185
I
pounds.
know you're not
In the morning
Jeez.
with
Yeah.
no clothes on. And
Taking a poop.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 185 pounds, and I've been looking at my rank or my bracket for the people in the competition, and it's still like 1 or 2 people, and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
But, oh well, I mean, makes it easier to get third place if there's only 3 of you. So.
I'm moving my weight up tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah. I don't want to have to worry about
You guys eat some
missing it.
Twinkies. So you're gonna be.
just
Oh
looking
no,
for- I'm
you're not
looking forward to rolling with some. No offense, but some different people. Just you guys have seen every move. I've thrown everything I've got at you guys.
Yeah, it was like when
I'm
we first
kinda,
got to
you know.
Japan. It was hard to roll with some people because you didn't know anything, right?
Yeah.
And then you start getting to know people, and it just gets not easier, but you kind of know their game. You know what I mean? By the time we left Japan, I felt like I knew pretty much everyone's game that I was rolling with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely. Probably picked up a few new things.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the first judo guy we really rolled with, I can't remember his name. Sorry. But remember, he had that sweet reversal he would do on us.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. It was so smooth.
So this guy is he's an officer in the Navy. He was like a lieutenant commander, right? And he's just this short, maybe he's probably 5'6", 5'5", 140-pound black guy, right? And he's like, oh, I have a little bit of a judo background. He misled, first of all, how big of his judo background he had. He skipped belts in judo for how good a judo he was, right? But so he would, I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were doing like Keisa Katame stuff.
Like
and
the back of the belt.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, and we would be like in side control, and you think you're owning this guy, and next thing you know, you're on your back.
Yeah.
And we're like, I was like, I don't even understand how you're doing this. And he's like, I think it's just judo. It's like one of the basic sweeps we learn in judo, or reversals we learn in judo. So it just works. And
that's crazy.
It was immaculate. Like every single time I got it, I was like, I fell for it, or he did it. I was like, I fell for it again. I fell for it again, man. So, but come to find out, he competed for the Navy in judo. He got a full ride scholarship through college for judo.
Wow.
Oh,
right. So he was a brown belt in judo, and like he competed a lot. He was like super. Like I sat down with him a lot afterwards.
Well,
and I would love to have him on the podcast too.
But he didn't know what an Ezekiel was.
He does not know what an Ezekiel was. No. And I would. There would be times I would like catch and release with him too, and he was the type of guy that didn't like getting. He did not like that courtesy.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
I wouldn't.
Did
like
you not finish that on purpose? I was like, yeah. I was like, I figured we'd just keep rolling. He's like, no, just finish it. I'm like, sorry, Brandon. I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to like keep the roll going instead of resetting, you know. So
you catch me in something, you better tap me out.
Yeah, right.
I want to see how you did it.
I know. Do you ever feel like people like play possum with you, and you're like, you kind of wish like people just give it a little bit more?
And I feel like sometimes people are scared to not scared to get choked out, but like it's like a pride thing or something. Yeah. And in the gym, I just don't think you can have that mentality.
Yeah.
Or are you thinking they're seeing your blue belt and they're just scared to roll with you?
No.
That thing looks heavy. It looks heavy.
Not at all. No. No, I just don't think you can. I mean, I try to get myself in bad situations just to learn how to get out of them.
Yeah.
You know? But some people don't seem like they want. They'll just do anything they can as far as thrash and get out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like just get submitted, and if they've got you, they got you. Tap
right.
out and ask them how they did it.
Right. Yeah.
Learn the move.
I think every time we roll, it's just not a stalemate. It's not like we're like hugging each other.
No.
But it's like reversal, sweep, reversal, like back and forth. It's so much fun, man, because we get to work on so much technique during it. And like you'll like threaten a submission, you're like, oh, escape out of it, and then you're going again.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
I love rolls like that, man. Or even when you get tapped multiple times by someone, like Cody used to catch me 4, 5, 6 times a roll, and now it's 2, 3 times. Maybe once.
It's a victory if depending. It's like it's just a victory if you can finish around with
without getting tapped. Yeah,
that's a big victory.
Like that's what I was telling Lordell the other day, and I was telling her like sometimes winning in jiu-jitsu isn't winning the match or tapping the other person a bunch of times or whatever. Like sometimes winning for you is just surviving.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember the first time I ever survived 5 minutes with Cody, right? And I got up and I was like, I didn't get tapped.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you did not. And I was like, I won. I looked right at him. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Once again, like Cody's so good, he could have just been like messing with me, but I didn't get tapped.
Right.
So in my head, that was good.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't put myself in a bad position or whatever. So that's a victory to me, man. Like if I don't get tapped by Professor, if I don't get tapped by George or Logan, or even if I do, right? If it's less than what it was last time or the same amount, if I don't, it's like heck yeah, man. So. Yeah. And when I do get tapped, I try to realize like what is going on and how do they get me again. And then like George is doing this like inverted Kimura from side control with your belly down. Like
he's taking a little bit out of Austin's book too with the lapel lately.
Yes.
He's getting real sneaky.
And like, what are you doing, bro?
What I think would be interesting too is a lot of times it's hard to gauge where we're at if they're not giving it their all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. So I know I asked Logan once. I was like, Logan, man, like don't hold back.
Put it on me, bro.
Because I like roll with Logan a couple times. Like, oh, he's not too bad. And then one day I told Logan, hey, let loose, man. That's the only way I learned.
Exactly.
And he let out. I was like, he just beat the hell out of me.
But I like rolls like that, man. I like
Yeah.
it when it's just like rolling with Cody. I mean, it's a fight. It's a challenge. You know?
Right.
But
Right.
it just makes you better.
Yeah.
You know?
When I roll with Cody, I feel bad because I don't want to feel like I don't want him to feel like I'm just like thrashing and I'm going too hard and
Yeah.
like hair away from injuring him or myself, right? But with someone as good as Cody or George,
And
like
strong.
Yeah.
as strong, you just got to be quick with
You
some
do.
things,
You
right?
do.
Like because like George gets a figure 4 grip on my arm, and I'm sorry, there's no me slowing down at that moment
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
I know like I'm safe. But I'm trying to get out of that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't want to slow down,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like, oh, well, okay, maybe if I would have shifted a
Yeah.
little bit of this way or something like that, I
Yeah.
could have got out of it. But it's never in a sense of like I don't really know what I'm doing.
Like a
It's-
panic.
Yeah,
It's not a panic.
I don't really panic anymore
Yeah,
in jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
So now it's more along the lines of like, well, maybe if I move just a little bit quicker when I do this, I'll get out of it. And it's like, nope, it didn't work. Okay.
You know it's there. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to get out of it as quick as possible.
Yeah, there's some things I still don't know that are there.
Well, yeah.
Like-
Yeah. There's millions of things.
I'm at the point now where if they got me outweighed by 40 or 50 pounds and we're rolling, I'm like, I will put some extra emphasis and making sure they don't get on top of me. Like,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
Like Thor got on top of me one day in open mat, and I was like,
Yeah, now I'm like, you ain't getting on top.
Yep.
I think Thor was on top of me, and I don't remember what happened. I think it was the end of the round, and we came back and rolled again. It was during open mat on a Saturday, and in my head, I was like, bro, he about crushed the soul out my body. I was like, that ain't happening again. And so I just like got on top, and I was like, you are not
Yeah.
mounting me ever again, Thor. Like
Yeah, it doesn't
side
help that-
control, nothing.
It's a great motivator.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't help that he's getting really good at applying pressure.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yes.
oh, man.
Yeah, there's a guy in Japan. His name was Rob, and he was same build, maybe a little bit skinnier, but no, I'd say he was more built than Thor was, but the same.
Yeah,
you
he
can crack
solid.
the beer.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, it's huge, right? And then,
Mashed me one day like
dude,
a
he would
tortilla.
he would sit there, and John would try to like.
Wait,
Wait,
you gotta tell him. So I would pick the biggest guys.
He
there.
would.
Because I
like
was like, I'm tired of getting smashed by Cody and everyone at the gym, so I
Yeah.
picked the biggest guy, and I was like, all right, this will get me ready. And this guy's no kidding. He was bigger than Cody.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
And,
dude, he's huge, just straight
Jeez.
corn-fed country
Yeah.
dude.
Like
Wow.
looked like he was
Huge.
playing for the Huskers. Like big guy,
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
and he would crush me. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, I'm getting used to it.
And John tried to trap and roll him one night, right?
Oh yeah. I
And
remember that.
he like John bridges as hard as he possibly can into Rob, and Rob he's like, it's not gonna work, man. I'm too big. He's like, go ahead and try again. He's like, oh, you got me.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not a joke. I did try.
Yeah, it was so funny. I was like, man. And then John would get up, and this is back when John was still recovering from the stroke, kind of, and he'd come back and he'd be like, man, like hair's just all over the place, like
a hot mess.
completely flush. Yeah, dude, it was so funny.
Yeah, that was a
That's
good
awesome,
guy.
though.
Yeah.
I always try to roll with guys that are bigger than me, you know.
Well, I've
better
learned
than me.
trap and roll
Just-
does not compensate for someone that's got like 90 pounds on.
Dude,
you.
he
It
was-
doesn't matter how well your technique is. They're not
He
moving.
had to have
Oh,
been
yeah.
like 260.
I'd be like, I'm moving. I'm like, all right.
you
Too
feel
bad you
so
guys,
defeated.
Too bad you guys couldn't see that.
yeah. John was you like into him, and then I was like, no, screw this up. I'm tapping. I'm good. Like, I didn't do anything. Yeah, I'm tapping. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this situation.
Oh, man.
John's favorite thing to tell people when they first start, like, hey man, if you're ever in a situation where you feel uncomfortable or you don't like where you're at, the quickest way to get out of it, tap. That is the universal call for I'm good in jiu-jitsu, bro. It's like you tapping? Oh, well, I'm tapping.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm good, bro. You go ahead and do what you're doing, man. Find someone else. So, what do you feel like your biggest part of your game is right now? Because I know you're kind of in and out of it because you're like you said earlier, you have a lot of hobbies and whatnot. But like, what's your go-to when you come back?
No, lately, honestly, I've just been trying to slow things down.
Yeah.
And it's helping because I'm seeing more opportunities. It's kind of like what I was telling you about the YouTube stuff. I'm just trying to slow things down and kind of control the match. you know, as much as I can, anyways. And I feel like I'm winning when the guy that I'm going against is just exhausted.
Yeah,
that's my goal, and I'm relaxed.
I love
You
that.
know? Yeah, I'm just trying to find ways to move and use less energy and wear him down.
Yeah.
And then it, it gives me an advantage. And then
Yeah.
I'm ready to, throw something at him.
What's so funny is I mentioned that in the podcast one time, right? Because I enjoy that too. I love letting people just
Just
work.
wear him down, man.
Just letting them work, man. Yeah, this is exactly Jordan. So Jordan comes up to me one day, and Jordan, if you're listening to this, shout out to Jordan.
He likes
I
to
love your
shout out.
nose. I love your nose. So
It looks pretty sweet. I got one just like that.
so he comes up to me one day. I was like, "Hey, what up, Jordan?" And he's like, "You mean to tell me that whole time I thought I was kicking your butt, you just let me do it?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like- he's like, "You enjoy just watching me go." Good roll, man. Like, yeah, you too, bro. Just walking away.
I try to make it to where they just kind of the match is over and they just kind of lay there.
Yeah,
for a minute,
I love it, man.
sprawled
I
out.
love it, dude. That's
I've
like
done
one
that
of
a
my
couple
favorite.
times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been there
Yep.
many a times.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm the one laying there
Yeah.
trying to get my breath.
In Japan, that didn't save you. You think you would lay there on the ground in Japan after like a hard roll,
Yeah.
and Blaine, our brown belt out there, would be like, he's once again a big country dude. He'd be like, "All right, let's roll." And you're like,
I'm not ready.
"Let me just take a break, Blaine. Let me just."
Yeah.
They were like, there were nights in Japan, dude, when we do maybe 15 minutes of technique, and then it was the hour and a half of King of the Hill.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
we did that stuff in the Marines. And I love King of the Hill.
Dude, it was literally
Loved it.
to the point where there was like 6 people out of like 20 that were still doing it because we were just
Wow.
all so exhausted, man. And Blaine, he would come into class and he's like, "All right, you guys got a choice. Either we can do 1 or 2 techniques, or we can just get straight to rolling." Like, he just loved rolling, dude, and that was like
Yeah.
his thing, dude. He absolutely loved it.
I
So,
wish we did that sometimes.
I
just so
wish
we
we
can
got
practice.
more.
yeah,
That's where I learned the most. For me, personally, is
live spar.
if we go over 1 technique, maybe 2, and then we just roll, because we used to roll like that.
Yeah.
And me personally, I learned faster that way, because that whole time we're rolling, I'm going to try to implement those moves
Yeah,
as much as I can in that session, just to keep it ingrain it into my head.
yeah.
And it works for me. But I definitely wish we get a little bit more rolling time.
Yeah, I like that
I need
too.
to get my butt to the gym a little more. So
Well,
Yeah.
I know a lot of the
it's my
times
own
they're like
fault.
practice at home,
Yeah.
but I don't have time to practice at home.
No.
So
Right.
like,
I have that dedicated hour and a half. Well,
Yeah.
2.5 hours, hour for little man, and then an hour and a half for me.
Yeah.
And that's really all I get in a day, and
Yeah.
it's twice a week that I get that time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I have this big fancy computer behind me that I do all our editing and stuff on. And I play video games on it. But during the week, like, I get home and I'm like, all right, well, I got stuff to do around the house. I got other things to do. Like, I don't really have much time to do anything else. I'm yelling at Charles to get his butt in the shower, parenting stuff.
So sometimes you just need some time for yourself, dude. Just to do nothing, just to relax,
Bro,
you know?
that's the thing, right? Is
Yeah,
I tell
you need
people
it.
all the time, I'm like, how was your weekend? I was like,
what weekend?
What are you talking about?
there's like either 1 or 2 answers. Like, I didn't do a dang thing, or is it Monday?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it already Monday? Dang,
Exactly.
man. So
Yeah.
So you said what's a hobby that you do outside besides? Well, not besides. You're a big hunter, right? Like,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
outdoors guy.
Yeah, I hunt a lot. So
What is that like, man? I've never been hunting.
I know we tried to get him to take us, and he said no.
Yeah.
whatever.
This is so. Let's
I always have
just to let
opening-
you guys know at home. Nathan is a man's man. Okay, he fornicates.
He's
all right?
wearing a red
Like,
flannel right now, pants and shirts,
with
while
a
sitting
beanie
here.
and steel toe boots on.
Yeah.
Like, he's.
He's got an Irish setter in his truck waiting to leave.
So, but
man.
what is hunting like? Like, you and Kyle, our buddy Kyle, just went out and did a week-long trip, right?
Yeah, it was actually his first deer hunt ever. So I don't know if I'm completely responsible for getting him into hunting, but I took him duck hunting, get him started, kind of get him, and he just got hooked from there.
Yeah.
And where it was an unsuccessful trip, but in my mind, every hunting trip's successful. You get away from my biggest thing is like, okay, you don't get anything, whatever, but I get away from the real world for a week.
Yeah.
No cell phones, no traffic, no nothing. You just got like beautiful scenery,
Yeah.
sunsets. It's amazing. It's like a reset. You just go out there, have a good time, come home.
And you're just like in your own thoughts. You're
Yeah.
in nature, right? There's
Yeah.
like you said, there's no outside entities.
So I like camping.
Yeah, I like camping too,
it's
right?
It's the same thing in ways, and when you come home, like you'll notice like traffic will make you angry really quick.
Yeah.
You're just so used to being relaxed out there.
Right.
And
It's such a
I
a
love it.
de-stressor, right?
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah. That's big for me. You know, I go quite a bit, so I love it out there.
so
It's a
when
good time.
when you're say you got a deer in your
Mhm.
crosshairs, right, or a buck or whatever, and what do you think about to calm yourself down before
Bambi.
you go for it?
there's no calming down.
It's just knowing how to deal with it.
It is the biggest thing you can do is practice before you go out there, because your nerves are gonna be shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna be shaking. It's intense, man.
Yeah.
It's very intense.
Do you feel like your time in the military helps out with being able to do that, or
A little bit, but not really, man. Because it's the whole hunt of it and everything. You're stalking something. It's intense, man. You just. I love watching people their first time ever like drawing up on an animal. You know, you see this guy shoot a target at 800 yards, no problem, and then all of a sudden his gun's shaking like a leaf.
leaving the wind?
It's funny, man. I almost enjoy watching other people get success. Like taking Kyle out was awesome. I had such a good time just
Yeah.
watching him get excited for his first trip. You know,
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Did you guys end up getting anything?
No, we didn't get it. We came close, but it was tough hunting this year. So.
Yeah.
But that's usually how it goes. You can't expect to get something every time.
Right.
Yeah.
How long is hunting season?
It's a week long, and then it'll close it's like a week and a half, and then it closes and it opens for like another week or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty short. But then there's other seasons you can do. You know, archery's
Turkey
a lot longer.
and-
Archery's like a couple months or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. I hunt out of state and stuff. So
Really?
there's all kinds of stuff.
Is there, if you hunt something different all year, is there like all year hunting you can do, or is it like literally just prime season is X month through X month?
Yeah, so you've got your deer season, and elk season's different, duck season's different. Some of them, like duck season, runs into deer season and stuff like that. So there's pretty much something to hunt year round.
That's
if you're
cool,
like
man.
hardcore into it, you know. But life gets in the way. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
you
stuff.
ain't gonna have a real job if you do that,
Well,
right?
yeah, I'm away from home enough as it is.
So what was your first hunt like then? Do you remember? Were you younger? Or?
Yeah, I was pretty young. I think I was like 12, 13, something like that. It took me like 3 years before I got success. And
Really?
I was honestly just like, man, this sucks. Screw this.
But 3
you know?
years is a long time to
It's
invest.
a long time. And I was just like, man, is this what it's really like? And then when I finally made it happen, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, this is, it just, I was hooked from then on out.
How old were you?
I think I was like 16.
16, huh?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
How big was it?
It was just a little one, you know, but it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Yeah,
I was like, I was just
Real question is, how did it taste?
amazing.
The first time you ever ate elk?
Well, I grew up on elk. I grew up eating wild game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you know,
Your
like
parents
my
hunted?
uncles, parents, like everybody. I grew up eating that stuff, so I was used to it. But
Pass me another one.
oh yeah, where are they? Oh, yeah. Some people
Thank
don't like it, but it's. I mean, if you're eating store-bought food your whole life, and then you throw something different in the mix, it's obviously going to taste weird.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of some of it is different. You know, you kind of got to get used to it.
Yeah.
But
People
like-
tell me the first time I was about to eat elk, they're like, yeah, elk is good. They're like, but it has a little bit more of a blood taste to it. And I was like, okay, I'll see with it. And I was like, this doesn't taste. It tastes like
yeah,
normal.
elk's pretty mild.
Yeah.
It's not very gamey. It's just like certain deer, you know, depending on where you get them at, as far as like what they're eating and stuff, that could play a role in what they taste like.
Yeah.
What time of year it is and everything. So, you know.
Have you ever spoiled a whole deer on accident?
No, never.
Never.
No.
Always got the kill shot.
Well, oh yeah, luck. Thank God. I mean, that's something I worry about all the time. Like I always worry about losing one and
Yeah.
or wounding it or something like that.
Right.
And I've been really lucky not to.
Right.
I practice a lot. I do a lot of long range shooting and just constantly practicing. But I've heard stories of it from guys who are phenomenal hunters. It could happen to anyone,
Right.
and that's just something I try to avoid.
Right.
But it could happen to me any day, and I just hope it doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I think it was Joe Rogan was talking about it. And he was talking about how when you go hunting, the reason you shoot a deer where you do is because you're giving it the least painful death as possible, right? Like they're more likely to go through a painful death in nature than it is by a hunter, right?
Exactly.
That's why you shoot them where you shoot them. That way it's quick. You know, they're going to bleed out as fast as possible, and then it's as humane as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you wound a deer, it's kind of like, come on, bro, what are you doing, man? Why why didn't you do it? And like, why didn't you just kill the thing? You know, so
you remember when we looked up ordering it online?
Yeah, it was expensive.
So expensive.
Oh yeah,
it was like $220 for like a back strip or something like that. It was crazy because we were talking about how we just want to eat pretty much, you know, clean.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, maybe we should just get Nate to take us to go get some deer, man.
It's really the only reason I want to get back into it.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like, you eat like let's just say you eat an elk steak dinner, you know, with some vegetables or whatever.
Right.
I swear I swear it gives me energy, man.
Really?
I don't know if it's like in your head you're putting such a healthy piece of meat. It's
right.
It's good. It's
all
quality,
grass fed.
Man.
It's like zero stress.
It hasn't been messed
Colby
with
beef. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm eating elk, bro.
It's not been eating corn its whole life to fatten it up.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like stressed on an animal plays a huge part into the flavor, the texture of the meat, right? Like the fat content of the meat and whatnot, you know. So if it's literally just chilling its entire life, maybe once in a while having to run when it gets scared.
Well, I mean, they work. They're lean. Like when you're eating any kind of wild game, it's lean.
Right, because they're working. Yeah,
those they're always running, man. There's predators everywhere.
Just like humans used to be lean when they had to go forage for food.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. Not with my dad bod that I got right now. You know what I mean? Good, Nate. Why are you so out of shape if you hunt all the time? No. What? How does have you ever tried to convince Melissa to get into jiu-jitsu or hunting or something like that? Come with you along on some of your journeys?
Yeah, she just I don't think she's not interested in hunting. You know.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. I've showed her a few things around the house. You know,
I see you grab her every once in a while.
Yeah. She's cool with like learning moves and stuff. You know, in like a closed environment, but she maybe in the future. You know? I think if she maybe got in on one of those all women's classes, that might be something she would warm up to for sure.
Yeah, that's how I got Lordell kind of into it. Is
she going?
Yeah, Lordell does it now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we told her that there's an all women's class.
Yeah,
and Lordell's the type of person that she doesn't want to do stuff like half-assed.
Yeah,
like if she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it, right? That's why. She had such a great success in bodybuilding and like everything that woman does is she is about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So she was like, "Well, I don't want to just do the women's class because I feel like I won't have great success in it." And we're like, "Well, baby, anything's gonna be better than nothing."
Exactly.
She's like, "Well, what do you think about me doing the adult class or the like?" And I was like, "Well, I think you could do it, but we're a little bit more fast paced, and there's gonna be a lot of stuff that you might not completely grasp from the get go." But I mean, I think it'd be great, and I think
it's a good way to get your feet wet and kind of
absolutely
nice slow way to kind of walk into it and learn the basics and get confident before you jump into that environment.
Well, and I think it's at least the last couple weeks, Professor's done a good job pulling the new people.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that has been fantastic.
And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Right. Because like it's kind of hard too. Like not only like them, but us too. Like we have things that we want to work on, but if we grab one of the new guys, no offense to them, right? But it's like, okay, well, I kind of need to slow it down now, and maybe I'll spend a good round of just working with this guy and showing him stuff that I can, right, without like stepping on professors and coaches' toes. That's the biggest thing, right? It's like I don't mind rolling with brand new people, but I just don't want to step on toes, right?
And they're always full of questions too, and you're kind of like,
yeah, right. Even as a blue belt, I'm sure you run into it. And it's like there's still moments where you're like, I don't really know. I don't want to tell you the answer to that. You know what I mean? Like
as long as it's on Professor's, like if it's something he's taught us and you're confident, that's kind of what he wants to keep it on. What he's about and what he's teaching and everything. It seems to be that's kind of how he is with it. So if it's something out of my realm, I'm like, hey, just ask Professor about it. Like,
right.
I'm not the person to answer that question.
I tell him I'm a really bad teacher.
Yeah, there you go.
Ain't that the truth?
I agree.
That is the truth.
I mean, you want to ask someone else, trust me.
Have you dropped into any other schools?
Not yet, but I've actually been playing around with the idea.
He said he'll go to the one with us.
Yeah,
yeah. You want to go with us next weekend?
Yeah, I'm
next
gonna go
Sunday.
The few seminars I've been to though, it was weird. Like afterwards, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a little open mat," and I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
And it was like a high school dance, everybody's like kind of tucked off in the corner.
Look, I'm not trying to date you, bro. I'm trying to choke you.
And I'm just running around like, "Hey, you want to roll?"
You rolled with a lot of people that night or that day.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah,
I was just like, "This is great because you're getting to roll with people you've never rolled with before."
Yeah.
I had a blast, man. That seminar, the Gracie seminar, that was the first time I'd ever rolled with a black belt, and it was awesome.
I think I've only rolled with because when I went to hybrid, I got to roll with Chris, Matt.
He's been in our gym, has he?
Yeah, Chris was the black belt that dropped in ours. He was on our podcast also.
Right on.
And that was the first time I've rolled with the black belt besides like Professor. And so Professor doesn't do a lot of knee bars and stuff like that. And we've never gone over knee bars. And they are huge into knee bars and ankles over there.
Wow.
And literally, I rolled with this black belt. His name is Matt, and he's like this old school looking Marine. He's probably
the guy that was super cut.
Yeah, like he's probably in his mid 50s, like and just cut, right?
Yeah.
Super strong. And I think the whole time we were rolling, he just kept getting me in the same knee bar over and over and over again. I was like,
that's the first time I got knee bar and ankle lock. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I told him, I was like, we're not allowed to do this at our school, so I don't know what I'm going to do or what to do. And he's like, well, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to learn real quick not to keep rolling that way. I was like, ain't that the truth? Then I rolled with our buddy Chris, and Chris is a little bit smaller guy.
Yeah.
He's probably a little bit smaller than John, and 30 seconds in, knee barred. I was like, I'm done. I don't understand it. I am tapping for the rest of my life to these things, man. Like, but it's a great experience, man. If you come with us next Sunday,
I'm there. If
dude,
I'm not doing anything, I'm there.
Man,
I hope it's 2 weekends from now.
No, it's next weekend.
I think it's next weekend.
It's next weekend.
You're just gonna have to
November 3rd.
You need to put this first and go do it on Sunday,
dude. I'm telling you, man. Like,
it's gonna be a trip. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think this not only has this podcast really helped, like, have us meet people and like exposes new stuff, but it's right now the podcast is growing so fast. Like, there's just doors opening left and right for us. You know what I mean? Awesome. Like, meeting people and, like, opportunities and interviews and stuff like that. So it's like, it makes me even more excited, one, about jiu-jitsu and the podcast. Like, we're literally got invited to go to someone that we have no idea who they are. We've never met them in our lives. They have a big, beautiful school, and we're going to go interview them and, tap into their life.
That's awesome.
And it's because of the podcast, and it's because of jiu-jitsu.
It'll enrich
so cool.
both of us.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
That's just awesome. You guys are doing that though, because like I was saying, I want to meet people outside. No offense to our gym, I love our gym. It's
absolutely.
It's only going to make you better learning from all these other people and stuff and their side of it. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing too. Is like we have a buddy who goes down in Tacoma, school in Tacoma. We have hybrid that we have a couple of people that we know there. Now West Seattle, like having Ashley on, the female that we had, our female blue belt, bro. She has been helping us so much. She's like, oh, I know this person. I can help you with this people, right? So it's like it's just crazy. Like, does he have your hat? No, he has a beer can.
Yeah.
Oh, Blaze is trying to get drunk. This dog's an alcoholic. But it's just so crazy, the things that have been happening lately, so I'm excited to see where everything goes. And not only that, but the podcast, like John and I can see online how many listens we're getting to, where we're getting listens to, and it's just a slow upward tick, man, every episode. So it's pretty cool.
That's
man.
Awesome. I'm happy for you guys. This is cool.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. We every week we're like, are we gonna get Nate on? Are we getting Nate on?
I appreciate you guys having me. I'm sorry it took so long. It's just been a busy year for me, man.
You know how you can repay us?
How?
In elk.
Yes, I agree. Or deer. I'll take deer.
Or deer.
Deal. If I get something, I'll bring you guys something.
I don't think I've ever had duck. Like,
I've never
actually hunted. I've ordered at a restaurant.
Yeah, I was about to say
it was horrible.
We'll do a podcast and I'll cook you guys an elk dinner.
I got a Green Mountain.
Let's do it.
I'm down, bro. I need to make some beer can. I think. I'm gonna make some beer can chicken with this beer, bro.
Have you done that yet?
Beer can chicken?
Yeah.
Not on the Green Mountain.
Oh, it's amazing.
Do you have a Green Mountain?
Yeah.
Bro.
Of course I do. Come on now.
Do you?
So I think what we need to do for Nate is we need to set him up with Chris to just go drop in the hybrid, which is
yeah, I'm all for that.
Yes, man.
I want to drop in there, and I also what's the name of that gym? There's a new gym in Paulsville.
Yeah, it's Warrior Buddha.
Buddha. We're gonna try to drop in there.
Wasn't there a lot? So I didn't get to go to the tournament. There was a lot of guys from that,
and they placed really high.
Yeah. So I would like to roll at both of those gyms just to meet some new people.
Well, I've been looking at their gym, but I want to try the yoga because they do yoga too.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I need some flexibility in my life.
Yeah, you and me both.
So what motivates you to keep doing jiu-jitsu when you can, man?
Well, the thing I love
are you going through blue belt blues?
A little bit. Yeah, I got a little frustrated there for a little while. I think it was a combination of things. I just had a lot going on in my life lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little frustrated there for a while.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand what that means now, but it's not like karate or anything, where you're learning when I did karate, I loved it, but you're learning a program, and like kind of once you learn everything, you've kind of in your program, you've learned it all.
Yeah.
You can still learn new things, but man, jiu-jitsu is just never ending.
Yeah.
And it's so intriguing to me I just want to go in and learn something new. It's addicting. And it's the live rolling that just hooks you.
That's what separates it.
Oh man, it's so fun.
Yeah.
You're getting a workout, but you're having fun at the same time. It's just I'm going to try to do it the rest of my life. I'm hooked. I'm done.
Dude, I love it. I love it. My body can withstand it the whole time.
Exactly.
I'm going to do it. Ed O'Neill from Al Bundy from Married with Children, and then what is the Netflix show that he was on? Anyways, come to find out, he's a black belt, a Gracie black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
No kidding.
Yeah, and he's like in his 60s, and he still spars and rolls and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
awesome.
like, well, as long as I keep with it and stick with it, but.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned like the blue belt blues, right? Because we've all been doing it the same amount of time now, and I just think that's normal because I think like you're going, my daughters go, and it's funny because I have the same conversations, and we were talking about that earlier with my daughter. Like it's tough, like all the way around. You kind of hit like these ruts. You feel like you're not progressing, And I told her, the reason I keep going is, for one, I got friends there, right?
Yeah,
and
It
makes it's a community.
It makes me keep going.
It does.
Even
where the heck were you last week?
Exactly, right? Like,
haven't seen you in like 3 weeks, bro. Time to get tapped.
Yeah, I missed a couple of days, and you guys are like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. Is this your first time?"
So we were talking, and I won't name any names or anything, or about they recently had a promotion in the kids' class, and they were talking about. She's like, "Well, sometimes she was getting frustrated or whatever," and I told her, "I'll tell you what works for me in class." Is if I'm frustrated or something like that, and just pick whoever you want in that class and just go take it out on them. No, I don't mean that.
He does not. That's not a real thing. He doesn't say that.
No, I don't tell her that. But I just told her like you have to remember like the professor is looking at, if he can, he's trying to look at all the people in their class, right?
Yeah.
And everyone progresses differently,
Exactly.
And what they're looking for each individual is going to be different,
Yeah.
But remember, and I try to tell her, don't get hung up on the belts. Remember what you go for, because it really doesn't matter what the belt is, right?
It really doesn't.
You can roll with a white
cares
belt who's going to tap a blue belt, who's going to tap purple belt. Like, sometimes it just happens. It's not, the belt doesn't determine how well you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
I told her to think of them more as goals along the journey, right?
Exactly.
So we'll see how that goes. But, it's interesting because I think everyone gets there. You do anything for an extended amount of time, and I think you have highs and lows.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I just think the key is to keep going. And I go back to CrossFit when something that stuck with me was the hardest part is just showing up.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I completely
and
agree.
That's how I feel about, like, the hardest part is just showing up. Once you show up, like, you done the hardest part.
Yep.
I go to George a lot for advice, he's had a pretty long jiu-jitsu journey. You guys know his story, and he's got a lot of he's done a lot of the stuff that I'm going through right now, so he's been a big help.
Yeah, he was a blue belt for 5 years, you said?
Yeah. So, I'll go to him for, like, I just went to him recently, not to call him out, but
you didn't at all.
Yeah, he's just been a big help recently to kind of re-motivate me. Plus you guys, I talk to you guys about it a lot. So
yeah.
I talked to Charles, and he talks about like, he's like, oh, it's kind of boring. It was kind of like boring today, or it's too hard or too easy. He just goes through the woes of jiu-jitsu. And when it came to promotion time, and I was like, look, man, I was like, what is on your belt right now is the way professor says thank you for your hard work, right? That's him showing his gratitude for you trying your hardest, for you doing good and whatnot, right? Like, this is him saying thank you. Like, you're getting promoted, you're getting stripes.
Yeah.
I was like, so the harder you work, the more he gets to say thank you. The more he gets to show you gratification, the more he gets to show you how much he notices you.
Yeah.
I was like, but if you don't get promoted, it's because he's not seeing what he needs to see from you.
Exactly.
So you don't think this is like a participation trophy. Like, nah, bro, this doesn't work. Just because you show up doesn't mean you're gonna get it. Like, you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what's like so rewarding, especially for kids, and why they have so many belts for kids is because kids need that gratification.
They need that they need that all
right?
the time to
and
keep
like
kind of motivated.
And so for a kid to, get stripes and like rank up in belts, right? There's no way a kid's not going to feel good about themselves by seeing a different color on their waist.
Man, did you see those smiles in the
class? Bro, Bradley was like,
I wish like, woo, they're cheesing hard tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and I can only imagine like the feeling that they're getting from it, right? Because I mean, we've never had a belt put around our waist, right? But just that feeling, and Nate, I don't know, maybe you can touch on it, but that it's like it's got to be like so overwhelming knowing that you put all that work in and all that hard work in, and someone's saying, "Hey, man, I'm noticing this is."
It is. It's like when me and Phil he felt pretty hard for it too, and we were going in there after hours, like just whatever we could to learn more. We were there. I didn't miss any classes for almost the first year.
Yeah,
I was there every class. I was just so addicted to it, And to this day, I'm mad when I miss a class. Like, if I got something going on, I'm like, God, man.
Yeah.
How can I get out of this so I can go to jiu-jitsu?
What was it like when you got that belt wrapped around you?
It was kind of unexpected, but at the same time, it was just like, wow. It was like, really? Because I was just so buried in, learning that I wasn't really thinking about that next step, and then it
boom,
was just like, whoa, here we go.
Yeah,
it was cool. Yeah.
So because you said you were a green belt in the marine martial arts.
Yeah.
Like, is that like the second, third, fourth, fifth belt in it?
It's the
and
third.
Did you have the same gratification?
No, it's the third belt, and it's like I said again about like karate. There's a program. You still have the test for each belt, but you've got a set of skills that you have to learn for that next belt, and then you got to prove that you know those skills.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu is just, it's not like that. It's just always you never know what you're gonna get when you're rolling with somebody. That's what's so addicting about it.
Right.
It wasn't the same. Like, it was. Don't get me wrong. It was gratifying, but at the same time, it's not even close to how I felt with jiu-jitsu. So,
right.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the ladies that we work with. Brought her son in last night for.
I was wondering what she said about.
Yeah,
that.
She said he loved it.
That's
right.
Good.
So she brought her son in. He has ADHD, and
he looked good too. Like, he was picking it up quick.
I was like, well, in the middle of him, the kids class. First of all, I was like, yo, does he have any like sports background or like any previous history? She's like, no, he does like parkour. I was like, I'm gonna let you know right now, your son has a gift. Like,
yeah,
when you're a coach or you've been around kids that, no offense, some of them are athletic, some are natural, some aren't.
Yeah.
Right? You can tell the difference. Right? Charles has to try a little bit harder because he doesn't have that natural gift, but he has something there. Right?
Yeah.
For her son, I was like,
yeah, he was picking it up easy.
I was like,
Yeah.
bro,
that's awesome.
I was like, you want to keep your son in this.
I told her, I was like, he's gonna be good at this.
I was like, it's just the way he moved. Like, he was getting the triangle, the like break fall instantly.
First
and
night?
He was just looking at the kids
crazy.
and doing it.
He was
looking at them, and then he'd do it.
You're like watching the future being molded in front of you. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy.
if he sticks with it. But she was talking about, she's like, so what's the first thing she asked is like, okay, so if I was 5 years old, how would you explain jiu-jitsu to me? What's the difference between jiu-jitsu and karate? Explain it to a 5-year-old. I was like, all right. Jiu-jitsu is the gentle art of folding clothes with people in them. Right? And she's like, most 5-year-olds don't even like folding clothes. I was like, yeah, because no one's in them. And she's like, so what's the big difference between like jiu-jitsu and karate? I was like, well, so she's like, because she brought up kata, right? She's like, well, there's like kata and karate and whatnot. I was like, yeah, so that's the difference. Like, so in karate, you learn a lot of like kata, things that aren't practical, right? You're looking for perfect form or whatever to rank up. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, it's all practical. It's literally show me you can do it in a real situation. You know what I mean? Like with that human feedback, so that's the big difference is like practicality. Like there's like, we don't learn anything fancy that's not going to work on someone. In the right timing, in the right situation, everything we learned will work.
Yeah, it's like karate works against karate.
Yeah. Right.
I think I told you that.
Right.
When I was a teenager, I did taekwondo. And then when I was in Job Corps, we were doing kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then the guy that, the guy that was teaching one of our classes was a coach for state wrestling in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was really, good at it, had a bunch of winners, whatever.
Yeah.
And when he was teaching our class, he was like, we were a bunch of troubled teens at that time. He was like, if anybody wants to try it out, you can step out here on the mat. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I went out on the mat.
With that butt up and down, bro.
Yep. So it was my first introduction to anything like that. And I did the kickboxing and all that. And then as soon as the match started and I took my leg off the ground and threw it at his head, all he did was grab it. And then he threw me on the ground. And I remember it was like I couldn't move anything. It was like he had me spread out like a pretzel. I was like, there's nothing I could do.
Yeah.
And that's really when I learned like when you have specialties, karate, things like that, and they go to tournaments, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, it's karate's for karate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're like for each other. There's a bit of a difference there.
Definitely. And that like
so once again practicality.
Exactly.
Yeah, my kickboxing did not work for that because as soon as my leg went near him, he just grabbed it, and then I was like, okay, all right. I see where it worked against somebody else that's doing kickboxing, but the practicality wasn't there.
That's like when I did tournaments in karate. I did a lot of them, and it was like the point sparring. So you get a strike on somebody that they stop the match. Like that's a point. You get 3 of those, you win the match. It to me after I got to a certain age, that just was not fun anymore.
Yeah,
but there's not as much of a challenge to that. As jiu-jitsu trying to submit somebody. It's difficult. Right. It's really difficult.
Right. Did you wrestle at all, or was Taekwondo the only thing?
No, I wrestled in high school. I went to state. I was pretty. I lost. Yeah, but I loved wrestling, man. I did halfway decent at it,
Right.
I wrestled pretty much all through high school.
Yeah. I wrestled, like I tell people all the time, like I wrestled for a semester in high school, and then I had to transfer schools my freshman year. And I loved wrestling, man. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then when I went to my new high school, I was like, I met with the wrestling coach. I was like, hey, coach, I came from the rival school. I was just wondering if you have any openings on the wrestling team. He looks at me. He's like, what weight class are you? I was like, 119. And he's like, I don't need 119s. I need 142s. I was like, I can't get that big. He's like, no, I don't need you then. And
That's
so I stopped. You wrestled 142?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, then I stopped. I was like, well, whatever. I guess I'll just keep skateboarding. Just keep skateboarding and doing biking and all that stuff. So I wish I would have stuck with it, man, because I loved it so much.
It is a fun sport.
Yeah, and I was so timid back then compared to where I am now, right?
Yeah.
Like in practice and stuff like that. Like I would be, fairly good.
Yeah.
Given especially the starters for JV and varsity, giving them a run for their money. Sometimes beating them. But when it came time they would be like, all right, time to find the new starter for JV. Who's going to do it? And I'd get in the middle of the mat and I'd just freeze up, dude. I'd be like, I didn't know what I was, a very timid little kid. I didn't know what to do. And so I would just freeze up and get my butt kicked. Right. And so that was the end of it for me.
Yeah. That's how my wrestling career started was, the way we did it at our high school was, for the varsity spots, we'd go in the gym, everybody's there watching.
Yeah.
There's one light over the mat, and, you go, I went out there in 7th grade, and this guy's like 2 years older than me, and
Right.
he just pins me in like 3 seconds. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then over time I got better.
Yeah.
And just kept sticking.
Did you
with
get
it.
that whole mentality from like other sports? Like, nah, man, I can't roll on the ground with another sweaty dude in a onesie. I'm like, I was like, it's definitely one, not a onesie, and then two, it's more manly than any other sport you could think of, man.
It's
But,
intense.
Like,
That's
maybe football. Maybe football is a little more manly, but
Yeah. I played hockey too. I liked hockey more than football.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you like what?
I
How many
played
sports
football.
have you played?
I played football, and then I quit playing football to play hockey because I liked it more. So
Yeah, ice hockey, roller hockey.
ice hockey, yeah.
Here
Yeah, in Bremerton,
at the ring.
at the ice rink.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's closed now.
it is. No, it's. I
It's
thought it was
open.
open still.
it's still open.
No, the roller ring is closed.
The roll,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right, yeah.
The ice rink's still open. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, I want to take Charles there because I want to see him attempt to to ice skate.
Let's go.
Let's do it, man.
I'm all for it. Melissa will never go ice skating with me.
What? Why not?
I've gotten her out there a few times.
So is Melissa from this area too?
Yeah.
Because I remember you guys said you met when you were younger, right?
Yeah, we went to high school together and everything.
Dang. What high school did you go to? Well,
Uh,
never mind. Don't say that. Don't say that. It's going to be on the internet.
Yeah.
So you guys met in high school?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you guys lost touch for a while, right? And then when you came back on leave from the Marine Corps.
Yeah, we ran into each other. We went out on a few dates, and after that,
That was it.
kind of
History.
Yeah,
you're
that was
like,
history, man.
this good-looking blonde is giving me the
Yeah.
time of day. Might as well
Yeah,
try to lock it down.
yeah, just fell. Yeah.
Yep. That's how I felt with Lauderdale too. When I was like, oh, she's actually talking to me. I better seize the moment before she
Exactly.
wakes up.
Better make this happen.
That's cool. How long you been married now?
9 years.
9.
That's good.
Dang.
That's a good time,
Sir.
yeah.
That's and you're young too,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
How old are you? 31?
30.
30?
Yeah.
Young guys.
Right.
I'm in the
I'll
masters.
I know.
I'm
I'll be
excited
30
about
this year. I won't be able to hit it,
that.
man.
I can't believe it's 30.
I know. 30's masters.
That's
I'm
a
like,
little
ugh.
low for masters
Like,
division.
oh my god.
4-minute executive rounds.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
What's after executive?
That's it.
Geriatric?
No, that's it. That's where it ends.
Do you get a discount?
Walkers?
I figure I'll do good rolling with you idiots all week.
You get a discount and a free meal.
only in the morning time though.
Yeah.
You get to watch the movie Cocoon.
Oh my god,
Those are the early morning rounds.
Oh, that's so funny. You get head of the line privileges.
That's right. That's right. No
And
hate.
you guys roll and then you meet up at Denny's.
You'll get there.
I gotta make fun of you while I still can.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that's so funny. You go over ARP plans.
I'm like, do I get the early bird discount?
So in your division, when someone gets a takedown, do they say, "Help me, I've fallen. I can't get up."
I hope so.
Oh man.
I'll use it.
My hip.
They make sure you guys have life insurance.
You know, I
before
use that
sign up for these tournaments, right?
You know, I use that on all the new people. When they show up at the gym, I'm like, hold on, man. Let me get down on the mat. And they're like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, let's start. But it only works like once or twice.
Oh man. So what is it like rolling with people with prosthetic hips? Like, is that like?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
We'll do a whole podcast on
Do you
that.
guys like compare grandchildren pictures before you guys start?
I have to make sure my denture cream is tight.
Or depends allowed on the mat? Like,
I hope so. As long as I don't have pockets.
it's too funny.
Oh,
I can't even talk because Masters is what 30 to 40.
yeah.
That's such a huge age gap.
I
like
think 30 is a little.
I would say like 35.
I'm
No offense
30,
to people
but
that
I'm not old, man.
I was like, no offense to people that are 35 or anything like that, but I definitely don't think 30 should be Masters.
yeah, that's
Like,
that's a little. Young.
I mean, I'm not gonna deny it. But,
yeah,
you know,
don't get me wrong. I'm happy.
right. Well, this like in CrossFit, I think 35 is the beginners of Masters, but even like 35 to like the mid 40s, the people at the CrossFit games and stuff like that, those people are absolute animals. Like
Yeah.
they're still deadlifting 400 or 500 pounds, like doing
Jeez.
crazy clean and jerks and snatches. You know what I mean? So to rule them as like I'm like, I don't know, man. So it's not even like it's a advantage to have such a wide
Yeah.
age gap, but it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
weird.
I don't think early 30s is masters in my eyes. You know?
I can see 35.
I don't know. I told you when we were rolling, sometimes I wonder, I'm like, man, does Professor remember I'm in my 40s? like he's watching. He ain't doing, the same amount of rolls we're doing. And I'm like, the only one that's with me in class is Mike or Billy, right?
Yeah.
And
I think Billy's the oldest one in class,
yeah,
right?
he is. And no offense to Billy, but, he doesn't show up to quite as many.
Yeah.
And, Mike shows up to a good bit of them. But
Yeah.
sometimes when I hit like 4 or 5 rolls in a row, like I am destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how everyone does it. And I'm like, man.
Your life alert's going off. And
Yeah,
it's
like my heart monitor screaming at me. I'm like,
your
good
pacemaker's
Lord.
like, you need to slow down, bro.
I'm like, I need to go sit in my truck.
Oh man.
And you guys are like, oh, I'm fine. I'm not even breathing hard.
Yeah. Now, lately, man, it's like last night, I didn't even stay for open mat, mainly because I had to get this place ready for the open houses.
Yeah.
But there's definitely times when I'm like, I'm feeling great. Like, let's get 10 rolls in. And then there's other days like, is this class over yet? I'm trying to take a nap.
I've been there many times. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like is probably the main contributing factor to that? Just diet? Like, you probably.
Yeah, diet, what you did, how much stress you had that day.
Yeah.
You never know.
I was about to say, I definitely feel like on the days that I don't eat my typical food are days where I'm like in class struggling.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like by the time we have class, that's 16 hours into my day.
That's true.
Yeah,
I wake up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Right? Class is at 6 p.m. I've been up a long time.
I'm already at work at 5 a.m.
Yep.
Right? Like we work 5 to 2:30.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and then classes start till 6.
And I have to get there at 4 for Drew's
Yeah.
class. So
Yeah.
it's I'm there for hours.
That's a long day.
Yeah. My biggest meal gap in the day is usually from my last meal at work, which is around 11:30 noon, and then I don't eat again until after jiu-jitsu, which is like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's the same for me. Because you live in Port, you're driving. You're like hungry on the way home.
I don't know. That's why we're selling the house. Is
Yeah.
because I'm so tired of like living so
You
far
wanna-
away
you
from
wanna
everything.
be right next to McDonald's?
Yeah.
I'm trying to live
Whoa, Toby. No, man, it's like it sucks. Like having to leave class, being tired. Like I'm sweaty, I'm stinky.
Yeah.
I got like a 25-minute drive.
That's
if
why I
there's no
love
traffic.
Monday 5 p.m. classes are my favorite.
Yeah, those are awesome
Yeah,
classes.
I love that class. When
Lots
they
of
introduced
rolling.
that one, I was like, dang, baby.
I get a lot of open mat time there, and
Do you?
I just love open mat. So,
I feel like I would show up earlier on Mondays, but little man. Uh-oh, here we go. We're gonna pause for a second. All right, so we were talking about open mat, and I was saying I would make it to open mat more if I could, but Charles gets out of school kind of late, which sucks. But
yeah.
So, but Mondays, I absolutely love Mondays
Oh,
too,
man,
man.
I
It
do.
is so nice.
I get a lot out of that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I get a lot out of every day, but you just, depending on who shows up,
Yeah.
you get a good solid group. You're like tired before class starts.
The group we've had's been pretty
Yeah, it's been
consistent
solid.
as
Yeah.
of late. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been solid.
Well, the nice thing too is we're all pretty warm by the time class starts too.
Yeah, George
So
usually
it's-
just like, let's go.
Yeah, let's jump into technique or let's jump
Yeah.
into exercises, and we don't really have to get too warmed up. So
Yeah, I like it.
I do notice the difference, though, rolling 45 minutes before class.
yeah,
It'll normally hit me about midway through the class.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, my energy's kind of shot.
it's like the time we did De La Hiva on that
Yeah,
Monday. God,
yeah.
that was so funny.
Oh, I was destroyed. I was like, all right, I'm tired.
And I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and just call this. No.
Yeah, that was a good one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what have you been doing for preparing for the competition coming up?
I'm just trying to kind of establish a game plan. I don't know what to expect. This will be my first tournament.
Yeah.
I think. Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're both
All of us are doing it.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a game plan. And my biggest issue is going to be my stand up.
Yeah.
Like I think with everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just going to work on that. Like Saturday, tomorrow. That's what I'm going to be working on.
Yeah.
Is trying to get that figured out, and then just a core set of moves that I'm going to try to really train hard before I go there.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. I'm just kind of waiting for it to happen.
Do you have like a play-by-play that you want to execute?
Yeah, I'd like to pull guard and go from there. That's gonna be that's what I'm gonna try to do. That's my game plan. Because that's where I'm most comfortable.
In guard.
Yeah, in guard. Like that's where, I don't know, a lot of you guys notice that's usually where I try to go to.
Yeah.
And I like to work from there. So if I can do that, I'd be happy.
How do you plan on pulling guard?
That's what I'm working on right now. I've got a pretty solid takedown, but it needs some work.
Yeah.
I need to iron some stuff out. Like we were messing with that the other day, like Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're like, that's the one I was going to do. He goes, you want to start from the standing? I was like, yeah, of course.
Well, a lot of people don't. That's all I want to start from lately.
Yeah,
I just want to start from standing.
Yeah.
I think that's a big weekness. And I went and watched the competition last time, and that was everyone's weakness.
Really? So you got kind of an inside idea.
Well, everyone was, the matches were 5 minutes long, and I saw very, very few submissions the entire day. And most of it was for definitely the newer people. They would lock up, and that's where they were at for like 3.5 minutes.
And even when I wrestled, I didn't try to go for a sweeps very often. I was waiting for the guy to make a move, and I was going to sprawl. That was where I was strongest from. So my whole life, I've been kind of playing that game, countering, and so now I'm trying to figure out how to play the offensive.
Yeah. And that's like we mentioned earlier, right? It's like the kind of like the confidence thing. Like if you're confident in your takedowns, then you go for takedowns. If you're confident in your countering, then you go you counter, right? But the big thing is, like Jon said, is like there'll be 3, 4, 5 minutes of collar sleeve.
Yeah. Yep.
Tugging each other around.
I saw matches and with one of our guys and while I was there, and it was stand up the whole time.
Oh wow!
The only reason one won and one didn't is when that happens, they go with the more aggressive person.
No kidding.
So
judges.
Wow. So one guy tried to get a single leg during that whole stand up, so he won.
No kidding.
Yeah, and
5 minutes they went like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and I think the other thing you might want to think about is, for me, the more things I have to think about, the more stressful it becomes.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not going to worry about points at all. Okay. I'm only hunting a submission.
I do think it was good how Professor and them kind of, towards the last tournament, he geared class towards like, okay, we're going to do some we're going to roll, but we're going to kind of show you how the points work and everything.
Yep.
Break it down. It's nice knowing, if he's yelling at you to do something to get points, you know kind of where you need to be. So
right.
I wouldn't mind if we did a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So
I know, because last time around, I think Jon and I were talking about this too. It was the whole like, hey, if you're competing, we're gonna do like practice matches and whatnot. And now that I'm competing, I want to do it just to see what it feels like my typical role. If I come out on top on points, if I don't tap someone, I would like to know like if I know what I'm typically doing, if that works or not, which is cool. But like Jon said, I'm going for, I'll hold the position just to make sure that when I go for this submission, it's there. I don't really care about points. If I lose by points, I lose by points. If I lose by getting tapped, I lose by getting tapped. I don't really care. Like I'm not there to be a world champ now.
No. I'm just saying it. So what I would recommend is like what I did a few times. I helped kind of coach a few of those mock matches. It gives you when you're watching it and you're looking for, a takedown, like the different points and how many like how many points you get for this or that. That'd be a good thing to do. Just so you have a good understanding of the points and how they work. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna have the same mentality as you guys are talking. I'm just gonna go and roll. So if I win, I win.
Well, I'm similar to you, whereas I want to pull guard, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's going to be I'm pulling guard, but when I pull guard, I'm trying to shoot for a triangle, right?
Yeah.
So in my head, this is how I have it mapped out. If I fail at that triangle, then I'm going to try to get in a position for a Kimura.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just trying to do it like where I know what I'm going to do. If that fails, then I'm moving to this, then I'm moving to this, then I'm moving to this.
Yeah.
But every one of those is strictly trying to get the submission.
Yeah.
That's how I'm planning.
See, and that's kind of different than the style I've been trying to create for myself lately. Is I kind of just go with the flow, and if someone gives me an arm, I take it. I'm kind of honestly just thinking I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
You know, try rolling the way I've been rolling the last
I'd
4
say
months.
go with whatever works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been working for me recently. I don't get a lot of submissions, but I feel like I control a lot of the rounds. So I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like that's probably what's going to happen with me too. Is like I'm not. I'll look for, like, kind of positions, just like I said earlier. But like I'm just gonna go to roll. Like
the
only difference is I'm gonna just turn it up on them. That I don't turn it up as much in class. You know what I mean? That's the only difference. So I tell people all the time, like I rarely ever go 90% or above in the class.
That's another thing
I mean?
I'm worried about is I take it easy.
Yeah.
Quite often.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the newer guys, and I'm just hoping I can turn it on all the way.
Well, the other difference is, that I saw too, is you're used to rolling with people at our gym, right?
Yeah.
But when you go in this competition, they're going to be equivalent to your size.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you
might not be
used to that.
Well, I used to have Phil to roll with all the time.
Yeah.
If we could get
you
his
guys are very
back
similar
in
size. Yeah.
I mean, when me and Phil rolled together, it was like.
Unmovable object meets an unstoppable force.
Those were times when I was like going hard.
Yeah.
And we were just back and forth. We had real similar styles. So that didn't
the closest person to me that still is 10, 15 pounds lighter than me is probably Will. Will is very strong. He's very athletic. Right, so he's probably the hardest one for me, and then probably second is Derek, because Derek's just so tall and lanky. And he's very good,
Yeah.
So, but there's no one that's 185 pounds built like me in the class, which is kind of like, man, I would like to know what that feels like.
Will's probably the closest,
Yeah, Will's, and he's still 170 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he's still like just a built, strong guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
definitely.
Which when you feel, I remember in Japan. There was a guy, I think his name Marcus. Who was the other Marcus? It was the black guy that was in the Navy. And rolling with him, I had got him in an arm bar one day, and he was so freaking strong. He just pulled me up, like he bicep curled me, and I was like, "Oh, all right, I guess that's not gonna work on that." And he was the same size as me, like maybe a little bit smaller, but he was just so freaking strong. He could just pull himself out of whatever I was doing to him, man. I'd go knee on belly, and I'm on my back because he had so much power in his body. So, and then John had that. Who was it that you arm barred? It was Gabe, right? And he just pulled his arm back to you.
Gabe's strong. He's like
that
Budweiser horse.
That Budweiser horse.
Yeah. Strong as hell.
I'm really curious to see what my weight class is going to be like.
Probably people just like you.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah.
I'm excited to see too.
I'm excited to just try it, see what it's like, see what it's all about.
Yeah, we used to be not necessarily against competition. It just wasn't for us.
Yeah.
But now I'm excited to just try it. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't, well, at least I tried it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I dip my toes in the water. But I feel like it's going to be another one of those things when you mentioned CrossFit earlier, you and I have competed in CrossFit.
Yeah.
One
Together,
of our first competitions, we competed against each other. Nate actually whooped my tail in the first event, and then I ended up winning. So
that was my only goal was to win.
That one event.
That one event.
Yeah. I remember Nate kept practicing it too beforehand. I was like,
I was all mad too because we're on the rowers and everybody was off of them before me, and I'm like, man, I trained for this. What's going on?
And then you did the wall balls unbroken.
Yeah.
Right. It was 1,000-meter row and then 50 wall balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Nate destroyed us.
I'd have tapped on the wall balls.
Dude, he destroyed us. And then Nate, I don't think I saw him the rest of the competition.
Yeah.
I think he was taking a nap, eating some Cheerios.
Yeah.
So
I was over after that.
But in CrossFit, when I first started competing in CrossFit, I was like, I don't really know. I kind of want to do it, and then I started doing it, and I found a little bit of success in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I actually really enjoy this, man. But now when I'm I don't want to work out 3, 4, 5 times a day.
It's intense, man.
Yeah. It's no joke.
It's just I was wrecked after that. I was
right.
Take me home. I'm going to bed.
I actually competed. The last competition I did was with Derek and one of our coaches, and it was three or four workouts, and I was already in the mindset of I'm done competing in CrossFit. I'm done competing in weightlifting and stuff like that because I don't really want to do the whole multiple workouts in one day, all the stress that goes along with it, just destroying myself. Right. I'm just over it. I don't get anything out of it. financially, right? So if I get injured during a competition, there's nothing really benefiting me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I was like, and that's how I kind of like I went into jiu-jitsu. It's like I'm doing it because it's fun right now.
Yeah.
I don't want competition to ruin how fun it is for me. You know what I mean? And that was kind of like where I was at. But now I'm like, well, I'll try it one time, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. At least I can say I tried. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of cool to compare yourself to just to see where you're at. You know?
Yeah.
Roll with some guys that are your same size that come from a different background.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So Nate, what advice do you have for some white belts that are in jiu-jitsu? Let's say they're about 6 months into their journey. You know, maybe they're hitting some of that. Man, is it working for them? Is it not? Well, what would you tell them to keep them going?
You know, find somebody in the gym, kind of like I did. George is my go-to guy. He's someone who's got some experience under their belt. Someone that's been there, done that, and you know, just ask him for advice. And most of the guys at our gym are like super open. Like I asked George for something, he's on it. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna like steer you the wrong way, and just try to slow. I think the biggest thing that helped me was just to try to slow things down. You know,
really think about it.
Really think about what you're doing, and just pick people's brains. You know, just like, hey, how did you get me in that?
Yeah.
Show me, break it down for me.
Yeah.
You know, and then just, you know, try to push through those lows like I'm trying to do right now.
You got it, man. I believe in you. That's what we're here for. That's what the podcast is here
for.
That's right.
You guys do motivate me a lot. You know, when I'm coming in, I'm frustrated about something.
Yeah.
I usually try to find one of you guys, and you're like, hey, quit complaining. Let's go roll.
Yeah. I know that's like when you came in the other day. I was like, Nate, we're going to be partners.
Yeah,
like,
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know the feeling too, right? Like when I first came back from Japan, I was like on a super high, and then John and I both kind of went through a little bit of a low.
Yeah.
And I'm probably level headed now. Like I'm good with where I'm at. And like I'm enjoying it. I'm not too invested in it. I'm okay with not making it to a class or two because of life, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm enjoying the journey right now. Like there's nothing really. There was more to it. There was more to it. If there's not, there's not. Like I enjoy jiu-jitsu, you know. So
and that's something I learned there. It took me a while. It took me about a year to learn that. You know, we were all going hard just every day. We could get in there.
Yep.
And it's just like, man, you got the rest of your life to learn this stuff.
We had that FOMO disease.
Yeah.
That what?
That fear of missing out.
Oh yeah.
It was. It seriously was. And we're all competitive
disease.
people, and we're like, let's.
It's true. I mean, because we all started at the same time, right? And it was literally everything was so new. If you missed a class, you missed something, right? Like there was.
Yeah, and you were frustrated that you missed it,
right? And because everyone knew that in the class that was there, right? So it's kind of like we were all piecing our puzzle together, and then if you like looked away, like someone figured out two pieces ahead of you, and you're like, oh crap, where did that go? You know what I mean? So, and that was probably why we went so much, and like I didn't get burnt out. I'm still not burnt out.
Neither am I.
Right,
no.
but it's just it's a roller coaster, right? Like everyone goes through it. So
that's probably
do.
the biggest piece of advice that I could give that I've learned in the first year. It took me a year to figure it out.
Yeah,
it's not a rush. It's not going anywhere. They're gonna have classes every week. You get there when you can get there and learn.
Yeah.
Who cares what your belt's gonna be? Like just show up and
your
roll.
belt doesn't stop you from learning.
It doesn't. If I'm like a blue belt 5-6 years from now, but I know a ton of I'm at a higher level, I don't care what's around my waist.
Right. Right. That's like as white belts, I feel like we're pretty dang good as white belts, right? Like it's okay that I'm still a white belt because at the end of the day, I know what my skill level is, and I know what I can do and what I can't do, and the only way I'm going to do the stuff that I can't do is by just being on the mat.
Yeah.
So me complaining about not being on the mat isn't going to fix it. So
no,
it's like I just got to be there.
Just show up.
Yeah, just show up, right? Yeah. The hardest part is showing up, right?
Exactly.
And then you got it, so. But.
Yeah. It's a tough journey.
It is.
But it's fun.
It's worth it, man.
Yeah.
I think there's so much gratification in jiu-jitsu in a 5-minute period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I feel great after a good session, and I'm on my way home.
Those endorphins are kicking.
Yeah, man, it's like a release for me. Like I feel great.
Yeah.
You've been working all day, whatever, and then you get out of there and you just feel great. So
Agreed.
Yeah, I when I'm rolling home, I'm like, that was a good class.
Yeah. I'm like, I wish I had more water.
John and I will literally call each other the second we leave class and start talking about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good to have, not to get mushy, but it's good to have a really,
you
like a
guys
best
hit it
friend
off,
in it,
right?
so someone we can talk to about it, and we have the podcast, and I couldn't imagine doing the podcast with anyone else besides maybe Nate over here.
Agreed.
Oh, this is
so
cool.
you
I
mess up,
appreciate
you're going down.
As long as I get reimbursed.
So you got any last words there, Nate?
And my sweatshirt back.
No, I just appreciate you guys having me on. This is really cool.
Yeah, man. I would love to have you back on, in a couple of years.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah. and think about that hunting podcast.
Yeah. Go ahead and, I don't want you to, what Billy said, if you got an idea, put it out there.
That's right.
That's right. So go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah, so I've been kind of playing around with the idea. There's a lot of guys that come to me in the gym that are interested in getting into hunting and want to learn, and I love teaching people. And I've been playing around with the idea of putting together some kind of like hunting podcast that's just to give people information they need to get their feet wet,
Yeah.
Maybe get some people introduced through the podcast. Like, hey, let's find some guys in the area that are both trying to do the same thing and see if we can make something happen. So I don't know. I'm still playing. This is the first time I've ever been on one of these, and I'm super interested.
See how high tech it is.
Yeah. Thank God for me. No, it's like we always tell people when they say yes to coming on the show. They're like, well, I've never done that before. So like 90% of the people we have never done it before.
Yeah.
And it's don't be intimidated. Like, we're just having a conversation. I'm just going to tell you to put your face in the microphone a couple times. Like, that's all it is, right? It's just, that's why we have your favorite beverage. It's like a comfort thing. Like, we always talk about this, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun. This is like
at first I was
legitimately
like,
fun.
I don't know, and then I was a little nervous, and then we started talking, and we're just having a good time talking. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Yeah. So if you need any help with anything, let us know, man.
I appreciate it.
Like, I can give you an Amazon list. As a matter of fact,
he spends a a lot of time on Amazon.
I do, man. I get paid by the government to sit on Amazon.
Better edit that out.
Yeah. So, quick thing: if anyone out there is interested in starting a podcast, or how we do what we do, our day-to-day business for the podcast, or how things happen behind the scenes, please hit us up, and we're more than willing to help you out. I had a supervisor at work today come up, and he's like, hey, man, you guys, because I was like, I was joking around. I was like, you heard our podcast? And John was at a different office today, and the guy was like, I had no idea that you had a podcast, and he does jiu-jitsu also.
Who was that?
Who do you think? I'm not going to say his name.
He's all mad at you.
But
you're like talking to someone.
Does he wear the sweatshirt?
Yeah, pinky dude.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So yeah, we do a podcast. He's like, is it a jits podcast? I was like, yeah, it's a jiu-jitsu podcast. He's like, no way. And then we started getting into it. He's like, I've been wanting to start a podcast. He's like, how do you do it? You know what I mean? And I was like, well, perfect, man. Like, I mean, we're not super high tech. Our stuff isn't like the top of the line, but you don't need top of the line. Like, he has way nicer stuff than we do, because he has like an in-home studio.
Yeah, does the band thing.
Yeah, he has like the whole band thing, and like he has like grade A stuff, right? And so I was like, yeah, dude, you need like an audio interface, some XLR microphones, some recording software, something like that. And then I was like, and then we use this website to upload everything, and that's literally it. It's not very hard. The hardest part about starting all of this was just figuring out what equipment we needed, right? But now, we didn't really have anyone to go to, because what Cody uses is he uses USB microphones, and he has like Macs and stuff like that. I'm not a Mac guy.
Yeah.
I build my own PCs, and so I was like, well, I need to figure this thing out. John and I were like piecing it together. I was like, well, we're gonna try this now. So we're gonna try this now, and like we've just been slowly piecing it together to get where we are now. Now we got sweatshirts. I got to hit up on it.
Slick.
I got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. You should thank him. He's the guy that's doing it. But we got hit up on Instagram today by one of our listeners saying, "Hey, I want a large in that sweatshirt."
What?
Yeah,
that's
we gotta
awesome.
get that website.
yeah.
Going.
So we're next step for us is licensing and a website. So keep an eye out for that. ElbowsTightPodcast.com.
That's awesome.
or elbowstight.com. It might just be elbows tight. We got to talk about that. But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like there's things happening that it's crazy to see the progression. I think the biggest thing Jon always tells us is like we just got to stay consistent, man.
Yeah, just keep doing it.
In nowadays society, you miss out on one day, you're done.
Yeah,
like you have one day makes 2-3 weeks harder. You know what I mean? So because people forget about you. There's so much content out there. There's so many people doing the same thing as us, or doing whatnot. So the big thing for you that I'll tell you is, man, is like if you're gonna do it, don't talk about it, be about it. Just jump into it, man. Yeah. Because when we first started, we were trying to record a couple episodes before we released it, and Cody was like, "No, just start releasing." He's like, "Put your content out there. Just start." He's like, because if you keep saying, "Oh, I'll do it when we have this, I'll do it when we have that," well, then you're just gonna keep building that list.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, man, let us know. We'll help you, and then just freaking do it.
Awesome.
Like, to anyone out there, even if it's jiu-jitsu, if you think you got to get in better shape, if you think you need to be healthier, if you think you're always willing to make an excuse to start something new, or not to start something new. You know what I mean? Like, just if you want to do it, just jump into it. You know what I mean? So if anyone out there needs any advice about anything that we could help out with, whether it's white belt techniques, right? We'll put out some white belt videos. Like, hey, this is how a white belt does it. All the black belts on Instagram, like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah. So, Jon, you got anything else?
No, man, it's good.
Yeah, this was a whole lot of fun. Definitely would love to have you back.
Awesome.
Have your bath.
I was like, if you want to bathe with him, that's all you. But if you want to come back on the show, we'll do it.
So, hey, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Once again, don't forget to go follow us on Instagram at Elbows Tight Pod, like our Facebook page at Elbows Tight Podcast on Facebook. Follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. We greatly appreciate all the feedback. We've been getting a little bit of feedback, but please, man, guys, give us some more, man. Let us know what's going on. It's only going to make us better. We keep hearing, apparently there's some episodes that are more quiet than others. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that, but the only way we're going to figure it out is if you guys keep telling us. So thank you guys for all that. But, you guys have a good night. And remember, no oil checks here.
None.
Puss.